Hello everyone! So a little while ago I hit 50 subs, thank you so much. As I'm currently recording this, it's 55. And in YouTube terms this might not be a lot, but for me it is, because I made this channel for my friends and family back home, and reaching 50 means that there are a lot more people watching now who might not even know me that well. So that is why I wanted to do a 50 facts video to tell a little bit more about myself for my 50 subs. Now, I certainly underestimated how hard it is to think of 50 facts. Like, try and write down 50 facts about yourself. So I tried to make a bit of a cohesive story out of it, but especially in the end it gets a little bit random. So please bear with me, and I hope you will enjoy these 50 facts about me. I was born in the Netherlands, in Zuidveld, on the 5th of January 1993. I never really moved until I went to uni, and that was when I moved to a student room in Groningen. However, for the past 5 years that I have been studying and have been living out of my parents' house, I've also been going back to my parents' house every single weekend. This is because my parents own a restaurant and I've been working there ever since I was 13. I started doing dishes when I was 13, and when I was 14 they allowed me to go be a waitress, which means that I have 10 years of waitering experience, even though I'm just 24. I have one older sister who's coming very soon, and you guys will meet her as well because we plan on filming a few videos together. I actually have glasses. I got them when I was like 8, but I never really wear them because I had lenses since I was 12 and I prefer them a lot better. My eye color is kind of weird actually, because I have a grey, green, bluish color which actually changes every day. Since we're on the topic of random facts about me, I'm 1 meter and 70 centimeters tall. I'm actually allergic to gluten, and next to this I have hay fever, I'm allergic to hay and dust, and really sadly also allergic to dogs. I actually grew up with dogs, but I developed this allergy later on, so now I can't pet them anymore, and I can't do it. Every time I see a dog I just pet it and then I have to wash my hands very soon. While we're on the topic of allergies, I actually was born with a cow milk allergy, which happens to a lot of children. So we went to the doctors and they just kind of prick a needle in you and tell you what you have and they say, you'll grow over it. It took me 18 years to grow over it. Next to my allergies, I have eczema. And this influences my life enormously. I have had very bad periods. I treated with hormonal cream, and since last year I discovered light therapy. If you have eczema and you're at your ends with, please try light therapy. For me, it is really intensive, to be honest. You have to go to the hospital twice a week to stand in a light cabin, and it took me a lot of time out of my week, but it was so worth it. Like in 3 weeks it cleared up, and after 6 weeks I was completely clean. So some of you might have noticed that my skin condition fluctuates every day that I do a video, and especially around my lip area it gets really dry and really red, and it annoys the heck out of me, and it makes me very uncertain about myself. So if I ever upload a video with very bad skin, please know that is because I trust you guys and I know I look bad, so you don't have to remind me of it. Since we are on the medical side at the moment, I actually have a fake tooth. I had like a baby molar that never changed to a grown-up tooth, and it was dying, so they had to take it out, and now I have a fake tooth. Next to this, I also had 2 wisdom teeth removed. I only had 3, and now I have only had 1. I never really broke anything yet. I did have a severely bruised lower back when I had an accident with a horse. The horse reared up and I didn't go forward, and we just kind of woo, went back, and it landed on me. I was extremely lucky because I fell so flat that nothing else happened. Like if I had twisted or whatever, I could have broken my spine, which luckily didn't happen. My battery died, sorry if it looks a bit different now. So yes, I used to ride horses when I was young. I started when I was like 6 and I rode horses like every day until I was 16. Since we're on hobbies, I actually play volleyball. I started when I was about 18 and then I didn't have a very good experience with my team, so I did it for about half a year and then I quit. And then about a year ago, I watched Haikyuu. And that really sparked my ambition for volleyball. So I started up again and it was amazing. I had the best time ever. Next to this, I am actually a HEMA fighter. HEMA stands for Historical European Martial Arts. If you don't know what it is, please look it up, it's amazing. In the Netherlands I had a club which was called Mars. This stands for Medieval and Renaissance Sword Fighting, and we are like in the north of the Netherlands. I joined them about 3 years ago, and then after 1.5 years I also started teaching. Next to being active, I also really like drawing. I don't do it enough because I don't really have that much time, but I love digital drawing mostly, and I also do traditional drawing when I have the time for it. Next to this, although I don't think I'm very musical, I play a little bit of keyboard and piano. The keyboard was mostly because of my sister. She played it for years and I just kind of stole her lesson book and tried it out. And piano really originated from Your Lie in April. I've always loved piano, to be honest, but the urge to play it myself, that's anime to blame for you. Other things that I really do as a hobby is bowling. My parents were very fanatic bowlers when they were younger. They actually met at a bowling alley. I never really did anything with it until about half a year ago, because then I started playing about every week with a friend of mine. So another thing that I really like to do, but I'm really bad at, is gaming. I'm really bad at shooters and like platformers and actually everything that you need quick reflexes for, but I really do love watching people play. I'm one of those weird people who will just sit next to someone playing games for 3 hours, and I really enjoy it because I would never see that much of the game if I were playing myself, because I would just die all the time. One of the reasons why I might be that bad at it is because I never had a Nintendo or a PlayStation when I was younger. My parents didn't let me, so the first console I actually ever owned was a Nintendo DS, which I bought when I was 12, and I had Nintendogs on it, and later on I bought one of the Pokemon games. Pokemon is actually one of my favorite games to play because you can just think while you're doing it. Also, Final Fantasy works for me because it's a turn-based battle system, so I have some time to think, but I also get lost in too many menu options. Next to drawing and gaming, I also really love reading. I mostly read fantasy books. I really got into Harry Potter when I was like 12 or 13. That was in the time that already 3 books were out, and after that I followed it book by book. And it's still one of my favorite series. And next to this, I really like the Discworld series. I always have a soft spot for the Aragon series because they really got me into the fantasy. And next to that, I really like the Mortal Instruments. My Hogwarts house is Ravenclaw, though I had a bit of a crisis to find out what my actual house was, because I also have a great affinity with Gryffindor. One thing that I'm quite prone to, and which is actually kind of a bit embarrassing to tell you guys, is that I have post-book and series depressions. Especially when I was younger, I really fell into a kind of depression. I really didn't want to be in the world that I was, and I just couldn't get over the fact that I could never live in a world of the book that I just read or the series that I just saw. And it was actually kind of serious. I never really told anyone actually, but I got over it. I still really like to daydream about other worlds, but I don't feel depressed about this one anymore. What I am quite prone to is winter depressions. I don't know if you know what it is, but when the days get shorter and you have less sunlight, some people are just prone to get a bit depressed. And I have had it in several stages, and about 2 years ago it got really, really bad, and it really actually interfered with my school life. So about 6 years ago I tried to do a elementary school teacher education, which kind of failed because apparently I'm not very good with small children, or like more their way of thinking. I quit that after 2 years, and then I started doing my current education, which is International Hospitality Management. And that's the reason why I'm actually in England at the moment, because I'm doing my last year. So as you might have gathered from these videos and the fact that I'm living in England at the moment, I speak English very well, and Dutch of course because it's my mother tongue. Next to this I speak a little bit of French. Not as much as I should be able to, because I had 6 years of French at high school and then 2 years of French at my current education. I still can't say shit. I also speak a little bit of German, though I'm much better at understanding and reading it. And next to this I am actually learning Japanese. I can read hiragana and katakana, and I'm learning just small phrases and such. This is because the one country that I really want to visit is Japan. Next to this, I also really want to go to Australia and New Zealand. Countries that I have been to are Germany, Denmark, France, Austria, and sort of Belgium. Like I've drove through it to go to France and to go to England, which I have obviously been in as well. So I wouldn't really say that I visited it, but I have drove through it. So I was a really free-spirited kid. My parents let me choose my own clothes, and I just kind of looked like a gypsy because I just put up all the colors and like beaded necklaces and skirts and everything. I was kind of a gypsy child. I also loved like playing outside, climbing trees, chasing chickens, and trying a lot of sports. When I was younger, I tried gymnastics, and I really liked it. But I had a bit of an accident in the gymnastics bridge. I was swinging on it and my hand slipped and I flew over the mat that should break your fall, and I landed flat with my back on the ground. That gave me an extreme fear of heights. I actually had to quit gymnastics because I couldn't do anything in the rings or the bridge or whatever anymore. And this also led to an extreme fear of walking over glass floors. I went to the Tower of London with my sister, and I just could not walk over the glass panels. I saw people sitting on it and jumping on it and everything, but my body just physically stopped every time I tried to walk on it. Other fears of mine are the spiders with the thicker legs. I don't mind the spindly ones, I just pick those up and throw them away. But as soon as you can really identify legs and see them move, I'm out of the door. And another fear that I had from a childhood movie that I saw, Help Hij Leeft, for the people in the Netherlands. I can't stand dolls, especially like if they're humanish, like the porcelain dolls or the speaking dolls. I hate them so much. So intertwined with this is the fact that I can't watch horror movies. When I was about 15, I watched a lot of horror movies with friends. I did it mostly to try to fit in. But this actually caused me to get a phobia for the dark. My father had to counsel me through it because I just could not even walk the dog anymore in the dark. I was so terrified. So yeah, I tried to fit in. When I was a kid, I tried to be a popular girl, which I sort of succeeded in, but I realized I wasn't really happy the way I was. So that threw me in my alternative phase. I don't think I have any pictures anymore, because in that time we didn't use Facebook but Hives, and Hives doesn't exist anymore. So I don't think I have any pictures. I did it for about half a year, and later on I realized I didn't need the clothing style to keep the mindset. So where I went back to wearing like normal clothes. I always kept the mindset, and I always really liked hanging out with alternative people. So this leads me to a bit of a weird fact about myself. It's something I say about myself, and that is that I'm very good at making contacts but not so good at making friends. Actually, all the friends that I currently have, I met at least 8 years ago. In the past 8 years, I haven't made any long-lasting connection whatsoever. Yeah, let's get positive again. I really love clouds and hills. You might have gathered that from my videos. I also have a slight addiction to buying duvets. I just love duvets. Back to this, I really love listening to instrumental music. As I already mentioned, I really love piano, but also violin, and just orchestras are awesome. But next to that, I also listen to a lot of like top 40 music and just regular music. As long as it's not rap or Dutch, I'm fine with it. What I really love as well, which you might already gathered, is anime. I completely drained my 40G amount of internet just binging on anime. I actually will be doing the anime tag soon. Some of you might know what it is. I'm going to do it with my sister, so keep an eye out for that. I've also done some cosplaying of anime. I've done Winry, which I wasn't extremely comfortable in, to be honest. And I did Kaori, which I absolutely love doing. The first anime I've seen is Death Note. I'm not counting Pokemon and Digimon because they, of course, dubbed that in Dutch on Dutch television. But the first anime that I actually watched, subbed, knowing it was anime, was Death Note. You might already notice that I really like being creative, and one big part of my life was forum RPGs. So what this means is that you create a character and then write a beginning of a story, post it in a topic, and then someone else will react with their character and continue the story. So it's really cooperative writing, and you never know where it's going because someone is going to react on what you are doing at that moment. Through Forum RPG, I met some of my best friends, so I highly recommend getting into it. And next to writing on forums, I also wrote stories. I did the National Novel Writing Month a few times and failed miserably every time. Random fact: I knack my joints. A lot. I can also knack my back. Sorry if you're one of those persons who really hates the sound. So I am also a very clumsy person. I tend to drop a lot of things and trip over either myself or random furniture. I'm actually making a video on this because it of course affects my work quite a bit. So keep an eye out for that as well. For the last fact, I really wanted to include YouTube a bit. So my biggest YouTube inspirations are Evan Edinger, Charlotte in Japan, Taylor R, and Dan and Phil. They've all been on YouTube for so long and I just admire what they do so much. They taught me a lot about how to get started on YouTube as well, just by watching them and hearing some of their tips. So thank you guys very much for being on YouTube. That were 50 facts. That took a long time. I hope I didn't bore the crap out of you. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like down below and also subscribe if you haven't yet. Ding the bell if you want to be notified if I upload something. And just thank you very much for being here. I'm very grateful and I will see you guys very soon. Bye!